Imagine stepping into the relentless dry heat of Hale, Saudi Arabia back in 2020. It's just past 11 a.m. The sun's already blazing high overhead, really baking the city. Inside a police station, you've got the usual sounds, phones, quiet talking, papers shuffling. But today there's this tension you can feel. Maybe it's the faint smell of antiseptic, I don't know. But the air feels heavy. And then two figures walk in. Ahmed, he's 17, and his younger sister. You can just see it on their faces. Their eyes are wide, a mix of, well, fear and real desperation. They're there for just one thing, something that sounds so ordinary, almost bureaucratic. But it's about to crack open this horrifying secret, 6 years buried. They need their mother's death certificate. Salah al-Rashidi.
It seems so simple on the surface, doesn't it? Just a piece of paper.
Exactly. And their reason is completely understandable. They needed to claim government aid for orphans, money from the Ministry of Social Development.
Which for them is a lifeline, right? Not just money, but maybe education, a chance at a real future.
A future away from their current situation, definitely. Yeah. But here's the immediate problem, the huge red flag. Their older half-brother, Radi, he's their legal guardian.
Okay.
And he has flat out refused to give them that certificate for years, despite them pleading with him.
Wow, for years. That's significant.
You bet. And the officer listening, he gets this feeling this isn't just some family argument over paperwork. There's something else going on, some unspoken pressure on these kids.
Yeah, it's really unsettling, that initial report, like you said, just a missing document. But it's cases like this that really show you how something administrative can be the first thread you pull, the first sign of something much, much darker that's been hidden away. Often it's these quiet details, the missing piece of bureaucracy, that ends up screaming the loudest.
So the police don't just dismiss it. They hear Ahmed and his sister, and they summon Radi to the station. Can you picture him walking in, probably acting like it's all a big waste of his time?
Well, that's pretty much how it went down. His performance was, let's just say, not convincing. His excuses were really weak.
Like, what did he say?
He claimed he was just too busy to look for the certificate among his papers. Like it was just some minor chore he hadn't gotten around to.
Right, trivializing it.
Exactly. And then he also insisted he was supporting them just fine financially, that they didn't actually need any government aid.
But the police saw through that.
Oh, definitely. An experienced officer picks up on the inconsistencies. Radi's claims about money, they clashed immediately with what the police knew or could quickly find out about the family's actual finances, average, maybe even below average.
So his story just didn't add up?
Not at all. His demeanor, probably defensive or evasive, combined with the factual contradictions. It was a clear sign something was wrong. So the police gave him a week.
A deadline. Produce a certificate.
Right. They urged him to sort it out with his siblings, maybe hoping it could still be resolved within the family at that point, but they were definitely watching him.
Okay, but then things get even stranger. Just 2 days later.
2 days, yeah.
Ahmed and his sister are back at the station, but not to follow up. They're there to withdraw the complaint entirely.
Which is immediately suspicious, right?
Totally. Their news story. Radi, the guy who was too busy, suddenly promised he'd handle everything. Get the paperwork, secure the aid, even give it to them monthly.
That's a massive reversal from can't be bothered to overly helpful in 48 hours.
It screams coercion, doesn't it? What kind of pressure must they have been under?
Exactly. And that's when the officer's suspicion really sharpened. This wasn't just negligence anymore. This sudden flip, it strongly suggested intimidation, maybe even, domestic violence they were too scared to actually report.
So the officer couldn't just push them?
No, that could put them in more danger. So he gets clever. He pretends it's just routine procedure for withdrawing the complaint.
Okay.
And he starts asking very specific questions. Not about Radi directly, but about their mother, Salah al-Rashidi.
Smart. What kinds of questions?
Key details. When did she die? What was the cause of death? Which hospital? And crucially, where was she buried?
Things you'd expect children to remember, at least vaguely, even years later. Especially the burial.
Right. But their answers were, well, alarming. They couldn't name any hospital. They didn't know the exact burial site.
Nothing specific.
Just a fragmented memory. Coming home from school one day, being called their mother had died suddenly. A heart attack.
Okay, that's vague, but maybe plausible if they were young and traumatized.
But then came the detail that changed everything. They explicitly stated that Radi stopped them from attending their mother's washing or burial rites.
He prevented them. Why?
His reason. They were too young. It would be too emotionally damaging for them.
Wow, that sounds convenient.
It's more than convenient. It's incredibly damning from an investigative standpoint. preventing children, especially kids old enough to understand, from saying goodbye, claiming it's for their emotional well-being.
Yeah, that sounds like hiding something.
It's a classic way to stop witnesses from seeing a body, noticing injuries, questioning the story. At this point, the officer knew. This wasn't just about abuse or a missing paper. A serious crime had been covered up.
So he starts his own investigation, quietly.
Exactly. Discreetly. He couldn't rely on the children's testimony alone, not under duress. First step, check the official records. He contacts every hospital in Hale, any record of Salah al-Rashidi's death, any medical reports, anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No medical records for anyone matching her name around that time. Zero.
It's impossible for a natural death in a hospital.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So, next step, civil affairs. Is there an official death certificate registered anywhere? Any record of a burial permit issued in Hale?
Let me guess.
Nothing there either. No death certificate ever issued, no official burial recorded. It was like she vanished from all official existence.
A ghost in the system.
Completely. The lack of any official trace was deafening. The officer now knew, without a shadow of a doubt, a major crime had been hit.
So the net is closing in on Ruddy, even if he doesn't realize it yet. The officer summons him again.
Yes, but this time it's not a request. It's a non-negotiable demand. Bring Salah al-Rashidi's death certificate. Now.
And incredibly, Radi shows up with one.
He does. He walks in and produces this document. Looks official enough at first glance. Salah's name, a date of death, even a hospital name and heart attack listed as the cause.
So for a second, maybe he thinks he's bluffed his way out.
Perhaps. But this is where expertise comes in. The document is examined closely.
By someone who knows what to look for.
Exactly. And it quickly becomes clear it's a forgery. A crude one, actually.
What gave it away?
Things like the paper quality, maybe the font wasn't quite right, or the official stamps looked off. But the big things. The hospital listed, it didn't exist, it was fictitious.
It's a made-up hospital.
Completely fabricated. And the cause of death just didn't align with the lack of any prior medical record. It was clearly faked.
And Radi's reaction when confronted?
Predictable. Feigned shock. Outrage. He denied everything, claimed he had no idea it was fake, tried to play the innocent victim.
The police weren't buying it this time.
Not a chance. The forged certificate was the nail in the coffin, figuratively speaking. He was immediately detained. No longer just a person of interest, he was the prime suspect.
Okay, Radi's detained. The forgery is proof of a cover-up. Where does the investigation go next?
They needed the full story. So the police cast a wider net looking into Radi's background. They quickly discovered he had other half-brothers, older guys, from his father's side.
Potential accomplices.
Or at least potential witnesses. These half-brothers were summoned for questioning. You can imagine them arriving at the station, clearly nervous, maybe sweating a bit.
Yeah, the pressure must have been immense.
And the police applied it directly. They laid it out plain and simple, helping to conceal a crime. That carries the same severe punishment as the crime itself in Saudi law. Complicity is not a minor offense.
So, facing serious charges themselves?
Exactly. Under that direct threat, Radi's older half-brothers cracked. They broke down and confessed everything. They implicated Radi fully.
And their confession finally revealed the truth.
Yes, a truth that stretched back 6 long years to 2016.
So to really understand what happened to Salah, we need to go back.
Yeah.
Tell us about the situation in 2016.
Right. Back then, the household was Radi, who was in his 20s, his much younger half-siblings, Ahmed and his sister, and their stepmother, Salah al-Rashidi.
What do we know about Salah?
She was in her late 30s, described as kind, devoted, married young, very attached to her deceased husband and the home they had shared. Her life really revolved around her children.
And Radi? What was his situation then?
Radi was different, kind of aimless, resentful. He was entirely dependent on his late father's inheritance. Reports suggest he had deep-seated psychological issues. Crucially, he resented Salah. He saw her as an intruder, someone who had taken his own mother's place, maybe even someone draining his inheritance.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster, especially after the father died.
It was. After the father's death, Salah and her children were essentially trapped in that house with Radi. She was isolated, likely had nowhere else to go, no support system.
And the abuse started. Or escalated.
It sounds like it became relentless, systematic. We're talking daily beatings, starvation, being bound and gagged for hours sometimes, horrific physical and psychological abuse directed at both Salah and the young children.
Living in constant terror.
Unimaginable terror. Then, one day in 2016, Radi's violence just exploded. It went beyond the usual beatings.
What happened?
He brutally attacked Salah, repeatedly struck her head with an iron object. The assault was described as far more severe, a sudden, lethal escalation.
And she didn't survive.
No, the beating was relentless, brutal. Eventually, Sala stopped breathing. She died there in her home at the hands of her stepson.
What did Radi do then? Panic.
Panic, yes, but also calculated action. Realizing Sala was dead, his first move was to call his older half-brother.
To help him cover it up.
Exactly. He immediately enlisted their help. Together, they took Sala's body, put it in a vehicle, and drove out to a remote desert area,
Far from anyone or anything.
miles from anywhere. And there, they buried her in an unmarked grave, hidden.
And back at the house?
Radi returned and meticulously cleaned everything, got rid of any blood, any trace of the violence, tried to erase the crime scene.
And then the children came home from school.
Yes. Ahmed was only 11 then, his sister just 10. Radi met them and coldly told them their mother had died. Suddenly. A heart attack.
And he forbade them from attending any funeral or burial.
That's right. Using the excuse it would be too traumatic for them, making sure they never saw the body, never saw where she was buried, never had a chance to question the story.
So they were forced to live with the man who murdered their mother, believing she died of natural causes while enduring continued abuse.
Yes. For 6 years, they lived under his guardianship, suffering neglect, abuse, constant fear, always careful, terrified of provoking him, knowing deep down, perhaps, or just fearing what he was capable of.
Until they got older.
Until they got older, started seeking independence, a way out, and that need for government aid, requiring that simple death certificate. That was the catalyst. The bureaucratic hurdle they needed to overcome inadvertently started the chain reaction that exposed everything.
So, with the half-brother's confession, the forged certificate, the lack of official records, Radi had nowhere left to go.
No. Cornered by the evidence and his brother's testimony, he finally confessed. He admitted to the murder and, crucially, revealed the location of Sala's hidden grave in the desert.
And the police found her.
A team was dispatched immediately to the remote site he indicated, and there they recovered Sala's remains. After 6 years, hidden beneath the sand.
What did the forensic examination show?
It confirmed the brutal reality confessed by the brothers and Radi. Sala died from severe, repeated blows to the head with a sharp, heavy object. There were also multiple fractures, ribs, other bones consistent with a prolonged, incredibly violent assault. The physical evidence told the story her children couldn't.
Justice for Sala was finally possible.
Yes. Radi was tried and convicted of premeditated murder.
And the sentence.
In 2023, according to Saudi law for such a crime, Radi was executed. It was 7 years after the murder. The final chapter in this horrifying saga really underscores the impact, doesn't it? A 6-year-old murder, hidden within a family, brought down not by some high-tech investigation initially, but by 2 kids needing a form and 1 perceptive officer who sensed something was deeply wrong.
It's truly disturbing how cruelty like that can fester behind closed doors for so long. How children can be forced to carry such a terrible secret, living in fear. This whole deep dive really shows how sometimes the most mundane things, like a missing death certificate, can hold the key. The key to unlocking these incredibly dark, shocking secrets, a silent piece of paper that eventually screamed the truth.
It really does make you think, doesn't it? We live in this age of information overload, always looking for the big reveal, the complex conspiracy. But how often are the most profound truths, the most terrible secrets, hidden right there in the plain sight, concealed within those ordinary, everyday details, just waiting for someone to ask the right question, to trust their gut feeling, and to just keep digging? Think about it. One small bureaucratic document tore open this whole horrific story. What other truths might be lying dormant in the details around us, just waiting for the right question to be asked?